Hello everyone, welcome back to the 2018 Granny Square Crochet Along. Today we are making this lovely square called Branching Out with these 4 branches in the centre of the square and a lovely border. So it is relatively simple to make up. These bits here might seem a bit tricky, but they're really not. It's just chains and slip stitches. So that's all it is. You could obviously do this in as many colours as you like, or all in one. So let's just grab our things and get started. Hook, yarn, scissors, cup of tea or coffee, and let's have a look at how it's made. Okay, so to start round 1, we want to make our slip stitch and chain 5 to make a ring. Slip stitch in that first chain and complete your ring. Okay, and then we're going to chain 1, which doesn't count as anything, and then a single crochet straight into that ring. Okay, and now we're going to chain 9. You might want to put your finger on that 4th chain because we're going to work into that in a moment. 7, 8, 9. Okay, and then you're going to slip stitch into that 4th chain, the one that I just said, pop your finger on. And you want to make sure that when you work into this, that this work here doesn't twist round onto the back. I just did it a moment ago and my whole work twisted, so I would have then been working on the back. So just make sure that you keep it all facing forwards and that you're working on the front all the time. Okay, so then we are going to chain 6 and slip stitch into the very first chain of that 6. Again, try and keep your work facing forwards. I just like to keep my thumb over it all so it keeps it forwards. Okay, and then chain 6 once more and slip stitch into the first chain, just as you did on the previous one. Okay, so we now have these 3 pieces here. Okay, and now what we're going to do, and this is where you need to kind of see that you are keeping your work all facing forwards. You are going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of this starting chain, so the one next to where we slip stitched initially, or you can just count up and do a slip stitch in that 3rd chain. I think this is where my work twisted, so just keep it forwards. And then chain 2 and then slip stitch in that very first chain at the bottom. Okay, and this will be our first branch. So we have this coming up from our ring, so sort of crochet pull, is it trefoil, when you get the 3 pieces around. So there we go. Okay, and then we're going to do a single crochet just to finish that side, or that branch off. Okay, single crochet, and then we're going to do that all again. So we're going to do another single crochet, and then we're going to chain 9, put your finger on the 4th and slip stitch back into that 4th chain. Oops. Yarn splitting slightly. There we go. Chain 6. More yarn. Slip stitch into that very first chain. First chain of those 6, which could be tricky if you've just pulled your chain tight. Okay, and then another chain of 6, and slip stitch into the first chain of that 6. Okay, slip stitch into the 3rd chain of this first chain of 9. 1, 2, 3. Mine's gone a bit small. Chain there. Just work into that chain and do your slip stitch. And then chain 2 and slip stitch into the first chain down there. Oh, excuse me, down there at the bottom. There we go. And a final single crochet. And that is how we are making our branches, which with just 2 look a little bit like reindeer antlers. Oh, they look a bit like reindeer antlers. Okay, you're going to do this twice more. So you're going to do your single crochet and then work your branches. So I suggest you rewind the video about 5.5 minutes, and that will give you the start of the first branch, and then you can just copy it for the second. And when you've finished, you are going to slip stitch into the starting chain. So your chain 1 right round here at the start, you're going to slip stitch in there. So I see you when I've got all 4 branches. And just because I didn't say, when you do your last branch, you will slip stitch into that first chain, which will count as your first single crochet, or your last single crochet, sorry. So you will have 7 single crochets plus your starting chain 1. Okay, so we have these 4 branches in the middle. I did my slip stitch into that initial chain 1, and then I fastened off my beigey colour, and I have joined a new colour to do the outside with, just to make more of a feature of these in the centre. But of course you could stick to the same colour if you wish, that's entirely up to you. So I've just joined my new colour in exactly the same place that I slip stitched into. Okay, so now whether you've changed colour or whether you're continuing with the same colour, you are going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, and this counts as a treble crochet and a chain 3. Okay, and then we're going to do a single crochet in this first bud. Okay, I'm going to call this a bud just because it's easier. So in this first bud here, this chain space, you're going to go into there. Okay, so look at this first branch and this sort of what I'm going to call the bud. Go into the middle of that chain and do a single crochet. Okay, like so. And then you're going to chain 5. And you're going to do a single crochet into the next bud. Chain 5. And a single crochet into the next bud. Okay, that's all of those buds, to use such a technical term. They're all now connected, and then we are going to chain 3. So if you remember here, we did that chain of 7, which was a treble crochet in a chain 3. So we're now going to do that chain 3 around this side. So 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to work into the single crochet at the bottom of this branch here. So the one we've just worked around, if you look at the bottom and find that single crochet at the bottom, you should have 2 single crochets there in the center. You want the very first one. The next one is for the other stitch. Okay, so look for this first one, and you're going to do a treble crochet. So yarn over twice and then do a treble crochet into that single crochet. like so. Okay, and then chain 3 and do a single crochet in the next bud, chain 5, single crochet in the next bud, chain 5, single crochet in the next bud, chain 3, and then you're going to do your treble crochet again in that first single crochet at the bottom of this branch here. Okay, so yarn over twice and into that single crochet and do a treble crochet. Oops. Don't get your next branch caught up. And then chain 3 into the next bud with a single crochet, chain 5 into the next bud with a single crochet, chain 5 into the next one with a single crochet, chain 3, treble crochet into that single crochet at the bottom, chain 3, get some more yarn if you need it, and then oops, get a grip of your yarn or get a grip of yourself if you're me. Single crochet in that next bud, chain 5, single crochet in the next bud, chain 5, single crochet in the next bud, chain 3, treble crochet. No, not treble crochet. We are back at the start. I thought we had one more to go. We are back near to where we started. So we are going to do a slip stitch into the 4th chain. And that will be the 4th chain either from the top or from the bottom. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that will be the equivalent of doing a slip stitch in the top of a treble crochet. Double check that. There we go. So this is what we have now. Let's pull that loop up a little. It's a bit like a butterfly shape. It will all straighten out and become more square as we work our next round. But there we go. That's what we have so far for our branching out square. Okay, there we go. So we're going to move on to round 4, and this is where we're going to start squaring it off and making it look a lot more square. Okie dokie, round 3 we are using half double crochets. Now if you want to change colour, I would suggest that you do this round and then you change colour, because this chain round that we've just done won't really show as anything much at all. Obviously if you wish to, then go ahead, it won't necessarily show as much. So you might want to do this round and then change colour. So we're going to, if you are changing colour though, change colour in this next chain 3 space. And if you're sticking with the same colour, just do a slip stitch over into that space. And then chain 2, which counts as a half double crochet. And all the stitches this round are half double crochets, okay? So we're going to do 2 half double crochets into this chain space, giving us the equivalent of 3 with that starting chain. And then in the next space, we're only working in the spaces as well, by the way, not into any of the stitches. So in the next space, we're going to do 4 half double crochets, And actually I told you wrong, we are going to work into some stitches, the corner stitch. So this next, this stitch, which is a single crochet, we are going to do a half double crochet and then chain 1 and another half double crochet. Sorry, chain 2 and then a half double crochet. Apologies for that. So half double crochet, chain 2 and a half double crochet in that single crochet. Okay, and now in our next chain space, 4 half double crochets. 3 and 4. 3 half double crochets in the next space, which is that chain 3. So we're basically doing 4 stitches in the chain 5s and 3 in the chain 3. Okay, so that's 3 there. Skip over to the next space and do 3. And then we are going to do 4 in the next space. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a half double crochet, chain 2, get that right this time, and another half double crochet in that single crochet in that corner. You see, as I said, it is straightening off nicely. Sorry, excuse me, just having an itch there. Okay, so then we're going to move around this side and we're going to do exactly the same of doing 4 half double crochets and then 3, then 3, so 4, 3, 3, 4, and then do your corner of half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet, and then do your last side and your corner, and then just do your last 2 spaces. And I'll see you to slip stitch and finish off this round. Okay, when you've done your last 3 half double crochets, you want to find your first chain of 2 and slip stitch in the top chain, and that finishes off round 3. Now it is bunching up a little bit, so you want to make sure you're not pulling your centre in too tightly if it is bunching up a bit, which is probably what I've done. This will square off more as we move on to our next few rounds. It will square off more. So you can see what I mean about that chain. If you'd have changed colour, changing colour you can't really see a lot of that chain going on there. So this would be a good place to change colour if you wish to. I'm not going to change colour anymore. I'm going to stick with what I've got. I've got a nice big new ball of yarn here, so I'm just going to stick with my green. So we are going to start round 5. Okay, so I said round 5, I meant round 4, you know, 5, 4, it's easy to get confused. We are going to start round 4. So we are going to slip stitch across into our first actual half double crochet. So slip stitch into that next stitch, because that's where we're going to start. So if you're changing colour, pop your new colour into this first stitch, okay? And then we are going to chain 1, and this counts as our first single crochet. It doesn't often count as your first single crochet, but in this pattern it does. Okay, and then we are going to do a single crochet in every stitch along. So we're going to do a single crochet in the next stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Your corner stitch. stitch. Okay, so you've just done 6 single crochets, and then in your corner chain 2 we're going to do a single crochet, and then we're going to do a chain of 4, and then another single crochet. Now this might look like it's sticking out a bit, but don't panic, because it will all fit in with the next round. Just gives us a nice little feature in that corner. Okay, so you're going to work along in the next 7 stitches and do single crochets in the next 7. The first one near your corner is always a bit tricky to get into, which you've probably noticed before. 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and then over these center 2, which should be your last one in this chain space and the first one of the next chain space. So over there we're just going to chain 2, and then you're going to work into the 3rd stitch along, so 1, 2, 3, and work a single crochet all the way to the end. So that'll be another 7. 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and then in your corner again you're going to do a single crochet, chain 4 and a single crochet. Okay, and you're going to repeat this around the other sides. So single crochet in the next 7, chain 2, skip 2, did I say chain 7? 7 single crochets, chain 2, skip 2, 7 single crochets, and then your corner of single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, all the way around. And when you get back to the beginning, it will be, back to the beginning is around here. When you get back to the beginning, I will join you. The beginning's around here. Oh my gosh, I can't even find where I started. So when you get back to the beginning, you're going to do your last chain 2 across the middle, but I'll join you back there. Do your last 7 stitches and I'll join you back. Rewind the video about 4 minutes if you need a reminder. Okay, so I've done my last 2 chains, and then you want to slip stitch into your first chain. Now, if you can't see that very easily or not sure, just find your last stitch here, which is your corner stitch, and then count 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the next piece there is your chain. It will be laying horizontally rather than standing up. So just go into that and do your slip stitch, and that is the end of round 4. So you can see it is squaring up quite nicely now. I'm just going to give it a stretch just to try and take away some of that buckling. So there we go. Got my ends all over the place there. So looking good. Okay, so now we're on to round 5. Okay, so round 5 is such a simple round. You are going to chain 2 to count as a half double crochet, and then you're going to do 1 half double crochet in every stitch. So, did I say it was simple? I meant it. 1 half double crochet in every stitch along, all the way to your corner space. Okay, so nearly at the corner, and the corner is not very tricky at all either. So we're going to do in the corner a single crochet and a chain 2 and another single crochet, and there we go. And then you are going to continue and work 1 half double crochet into every stitch. And when you get to your center, chain 2, you are going to do 2 half double crochets in that chain. So I'm just going to work up to that point with you and then I will leave you to continue the rest of the round. So here we go. So in this center chain 2, just do 2 half double crochets, and then continue all the way along. In your corner it is single crochet, chain 2 and single crochet all the way around until you get back to the start. You will do your last 2 half double crochets in this chain 2 here, and then you will slip stitch to the top of your chain 2, and I'll see you around there. Ready for round 6. Okie dokie, there we go at the end of round 5. Looking good. So round 6 is actually exactly the same. Well, exactly the same apart from the corners. We are going to chain 2 to start. So exactly the same start, and you're going to do 1 half double crochet in every stitch. The only difference is in your corners now, you're going to do half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet. The reason we did single crochets in the corners on this last round was because if you remember we had that chain 4 in our corner. So if we'd have done half double crochets, then it would have been sticking out here, rather than if you see here, it's all kind of in line. Okay, it would have just been sticking out further. So that's why we did smaller stitches in those corners. Okay, so what you're going to do is, as I said, just as before, chain 2 to start, and then you're going to do one half double crochet in every stitch along, and that is as simple as this round is. When you get to your corner, you're going to do a half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet in that chain space, and that's that. When you get back around to the start, slip stitch into that top chain of your chain 2, and I will see you around there, ready for round 7, our last round. So, see you in a moment. So there we go, at the end of round 6. You can see that my square has flattened out nicely. It's not pulling in, bunching up at all now. It's laying nice and flat. So when I said persevere, I was right. So there we go. This is our square. There is one more round to go should you need it, but I suggest that you just have a measure, because the final round is just a round of single crochet. So it might be best to measure your square first and see if you need that. I actually don't, because this is, that you can see my ruler fits across there quite nicely, so I don't need to do any more rounds. So the final round, round 7, should you need it, is single crochets, and it is, you will start with a chain 1, which doesn't count as anything, and then do a single crochet in exactly the same spot. And then you're going to do, it'll be 1 single crochet in every stitch, just as usual. And then in your corner chain space, you will do 3 single crochets. Okay, so 3 single crochet in your corner chain space, and 1 single crochet in every stitch around, and then slip stitch into your first single crochet. So I'm not going to do that round. If you need to do that round, then by all means go ahead and do that, and then you could do a final edging colour if you fancy, if you haven't changed colour. So I'm going to sew these ends in and get them out of the way because you can't see the centre very well there, and then I'm going to come back and show you the final result of my square. And here we go. Here's my final square. I've sewn in all the ends and it's all nice and neat, and you can now see exactly what's going on in the centre there without all those strands everywhere. So I love it. Unfortunately you can't see my the green very well on camera there. It's not looking so good. To bring it closer, it's a much nicer green than it looks down there. a nice sort of jade green. So it looks a bit of a funny colour there. Anyway, that's my square branching out, and as you can see, it does work up quite nicely. And it does become a lot more square and flat. So I hope you've enjoyed crocheting along with me today. If you have, then please be sure to click that like button and give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, then hit that subscribe button just there as well. And the details of the Facebook group are all in that description below, and I can't wait to see what colours you've done this in and how you've made your square up. So until next time, just keep hooking and don't let your tea get cold.